Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. My name is T'Shon, and I am presenting another episode of Girl Talk. The girls are talking with me, T'Shon. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. I know it's kind of weird going into this, but I really do wish I had a theme song. Any suggestions? But first and foremost, I'd like to thank my followers. Hey, I may not have many right now, but I am so grateful for the few that I have. Stick with me. We are really going somewhere. As Don Cornelius used to say, you can bet your money it's going to be a stone cold blast, honey. That's what's going on here. And again, I just want to thank you. I'm just me, and we're going to be talking about a lot of different things. There's always something in the news to talk about. There's always an issue to talk about. There is endless, endless stories to talk about. And we are going to talk about those from a female perspective or a woman's point of view. Also, I'd like to thank my unimpressed hottie, my love Taja, and my triple threat Tori. You know who you are. You know how you're very special to me. Always have to give a shout out to my day ones. No matter where you go, don't forget your day ones. The ones who have been there from the beginning, who has never switched up on you. Things like that. So definitely a shout out to my day ones. You know who you are. I can't name you all, but you know who you are. I love you all. Also to my billionaire Bev, who is encouraging me to continue to do the right thing, continue to make content, because there is always someone that is looking for what you have or listening for what you have to say. So I like to thank that, my Rain Jordan, the Rainmaker herself, for always encouraging us to do better, to push beyond our limits. So again, thank you. And hey, just thank you all again. So I was just kind of sitting around, just kind of thinking about some things, thinking about different situations, different phases in life, different situations that you go through in life, and sometimes how you come out on top or the lesson that needed to be learned from that. So, what I kind of want to talk about today is my mature self, the woman that I am now, with the wisdom and life experience that I have now versus the young woman I was, or younger, I'll say younger woman I was in my 20s and so on and so forth. So, life has a way of teaching you some lessons. And I feel like when you get to be my age and you're entering into this phase of life, there should have been some things that you learned. There should be some things that you should be doing differently. I can name quite a few. For me, I'm going to use me as an example. I feel that sometimes we need to be teaching the younger women, the ins and outs, if they're willing to listen. Not only should we be teaching them, because a lot of us have a lot of life experiences. Some of us were young single mothers. Some of us were single mothers before we were equipped to be mothers. Some of us grew up in quote unquote the hood. Some of us learn to spot certain signs of different things, just a lot of different things. Abuse, uh, be it child abuse or things like that. So it's quite a few lessons that we have learned along the way. So I said that to say I was listening to a conversation, and this young lady, I want to say she had to be possibly in her 20s, perhaps somewhere in there. And, she was just really, really, really digging on, tearing into women of a certain age, such as myself. And the young lady went on and on to say that we're jealous and, we're hating on the younger women. We're trying to be baddies and blah, blah, blah. And it was just a lot of different stuff. And I was intrigued by what she was saying. So I listened and I listened and I listened. And she says we're in competition with her, with that age group, with that generation. We're dressing like them. Um, we're dating, quote unquote, men in that age group and so on and so forth. We really want to be in competition with them. We really can't compete. We're old, we're dried up. What? And she was serious. That was really her perspective of what it is to be a woman of a certain age. Well, my response to that is I could kind of understand where she was trying to go. Maybe not as articulate as she could have been, but in some cases, it may be true. I sit back and I observe many things. I look at a person, and when I look at them, of course, you're going to notice how they're dressed and, how their hair is styled and, just a lot of different isms and schisms and aspects of that particular person. So, one of the things that she said, which is true in some cases, that some women are dressing as if they are 19. She wasn't all the way wrong about that. I guess we're going through this phase where everybody wants to be this baddie. They want to be this baddie. They want to be dressed such and such. They want to look this particular way and so on and so forth. So, my opinion, and this is my opinion, the opinion of T'Shon and no one else, so don't get mad. I do believe that people have a right to express themselves and have their own opinions, and I am one of those people. When I don't want to comment, I be quiet. So, some women in my age group, they are dressing as if they are 19 or 20 years old. In my opinion, when you try so hard to be so young or look so young, it makes you look older. Just like I have a 17-year-old daughter, and that's my baby, my youngest. However, there are some things that she wears at 17 that I have no business wearing at my age because it will make me look older. So, it used to be a time where you can be, everyone has a different style. You have some that are really sophisticated. You have some that are very demure and laid back. You have some that are very edgy. You can even go as far as edgy, chic, stylish, chic, whatever you want to call it. But now it's like everybody wants to look 19. I know plenty of women that are of a certain age and they look younger because they're at peace with themselves. They look, it's certain things that they just don't do anymore. It's not necessary. You get what I'm saying? Like, for example, you have some that are edgy chic, but it's age appropriate. I have one of my cousins who I love dearly. This girl will have braids one week, she'll cut off all her hair the next week. She's into the tattoos, just different things, but it's like an edginess about her, but it's age appropriate. Like she looks younger because she's at a phase in her life where she's at peace. I have, which I don't have a lot of friends, and I'm not sure if I'll have a lot after this. However, I'm just telling you the truth. They don't try so hard. They don't try to look 19. They just look good because they discovered something that some of our young women have not discovered as of yet. And that is to be comfortable and be secure in yourself. When you learn that lesson, it doesn't matter what quote unquote baddie comes around. It doesn't matter if you have a designer label or not. It doesn't matter if you're driving a Bentley or you're driving an Accord. Those things don't matter because you're secure in who you are. But then we have some of our women my age who are missing it. Missing it. They're missing it. So being secure in who you are, it goes a long way. I'm at an age now where what used to be important to me or what I thought was important at 20, 21, is something I don't even think about anymore. Like, I feel that everyone can do their own thing with fashion. You can buy and wear whatever label you want, but if your identity is tied up in that, you'll miss the mark somewhere. Because let me tell you something, someone who's secure in who they are, they don't need Gucci to prove to other people who they are. They can go if they want to buy this dress from Walmart, whatever, Walmart, well, I don't want to say Target, but Walmart, wherever. And they can take that $10, $15 dress and make it look like it's very expensive because, again, they're secure in who they are. They know their look, they know themselves. They're not out here trying to run with the Joneses. They're not trying to be the Joneses. None of that. So that makes a difference. And I'm going to go back to some of the other things that the young lady said. So, sisters, when you get to be a certain age, you don't have to try to be a baddie. As they say, my daughters taught me that because I'm like, what in the world is a baddie? I guess every generation calls it something. Back in the day, it used to be the fly girl, the it girl, the hot girl. Now it's the baddie. It'll go back to being the fly girl, the it girl. These slang terms always recycle themselves. So we don't really, a lot of us have come to a place in our lives, we don't have to try that hard. We don't have to try that hard for attention, especially when you have a presence about yourself. You don't have to seek attention. You don't have to be loud. You don't have to make a lot of noise. When you have a presence about yourself and you walk in that room, the whole atmosphere will shift. People will know you're there because they'll feel it. You don't have to try hard. Maybe they do. I've never really been a loud person. I've always just kind of been me. So maybe that's something that we could talk about at a later time, having a presence about yourself. So that's something that this generation can learn. There some of us are not trying to be that baddie. We're just trying to be ourselves. We're just trying to be at peace, make our money, relax. Uh, we want to look relaxed because some of these young girls, I couldn't believe the ages of some of them. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, there is no way she is 25 years old. There is no way. We get our rest, not being up all night, blah, blah, blah. We're getting up early. We're hitting that time clock. We're getting home. We're relaxing and we're minding our own business. Some of us, now some of us are not, but it's not too late to mind your own business. So it's a difference. So, I just wonder, what are you guys doing? What do you want to learn? Because there are wise women, and we're willing to teach you. Some of the things that you go through or they're going through, been there, done that. That's probably why we're at peace because we know. So instead of sometimes antagonizing us and saying, "Oh, we're trying to be this," and some are, that there is a different conversation for another show. Maybe you should ask, "How did you deal with this?" And maybe we will tell you how we dealt with it or what we should have done when we were your age. Because let me tell you, if you start listening more than talking, then just maybe there's some things you can learn. Because now we're at an age where we see bullcrap when it's coming. We're able to call it out. We're able to tell you, honey, that ain't the one. We're able to look at the guys or whoever you're dating and bringing them to us like he has quite a few women. You may want to let that one go. Or this one isn't going to be a good one. Or whatever the case may be. We're at that age. We could really help you guys get to where you're trying to get to without the collateral damage that some of us suffer but yet we survived. So, hey, I want you guys to hit me up. What do you want to know from the wise women? Mhm. You can reach me at girltalkwithtshon@gmail.com. You can also go to my YouTube channel and hey, follow me, subscribe, because I'm going to have some interesting guests on this show. And boy, oh boy, when I tell you it's going to get raw and relatable, I'm going to have to issue a disclaimer because some of my guests, my close ones, they have no filter. However, I'm able to interpret what they're saying. So that brings me on to my next thing. We're going to pick that up about the wise women and so on and so forth. So I was reading another story, and this one, I know what I would do. The young lady and the guy broke up. I guess they were engaged. They decided that they weren't going to get married. He invested quite a lot of money into an engagement ring. And the young lady did not want to give it back. She was in love with the ring, or she was in love with, I don't know. But she decided not to give the ring back. And he's kind of harassing her about it. And this brings me to my point again with peace. If it causes that type of chaos and drama, let him have it. Let him have it. See, that's another thing. I know I said I was going to leave the wise women, all that stuff alone. But let me just say this. We are so invested in peace. I'm not fighting to keep a ring if it's going to take my peace. In fact, to be quite honest with you, I'm not fighting traffic over bullcrap. Not me. Not me. And I know that there are many others that will agree with me. So, what would you do? If it's going to interrupt your peace, and when you have been through enough, and maybe that's it, maybe they haven't been through enough chaos. Because when you go through some traumatic trials and experiences and a lot of chaos, peace is priceless. There's nothing that can compare with it. Peace. Would you hold on to a ring? And this is to my wise women. Would you hold on to a ring, but it's going to cost you your peace? Not me. You can have it. You can have it. Nothing is worth your peace because it's material. You can always go get another ring. Go buy yourself a ring. If you want a ring that badly, go buy it yourself because he's not going to stop. He's not going to stop. And then also, another thing that I thought about is why can't you just be done? Because see, we learned, the wise women in my age group, most of us, that when we're done with you, well, I'm going to speak for me. When I'm done, I'm done. There's nothing you can say. There's no phone call. There's no present because I'm at a point where you can keep it. I don't want all of that. Especially when you have the opportunity, you fumbled or mishandled that opportunity. You mishandled the relationship. You did not appreciate. So, we've gotten to an age where most of us have gotten to that age where we internalize things. And it's like, okay, this isn't worth it. So now with me, if it's interrupting my peace, you gotta go. It's just as simple as that. You have got to go. There's no reason for you to remain. You gotta go. Am I talking to myself? Does anybody else feel like me? And I'm not going on a rant. It's just some stuff that's on my mind. This is girl talk. These are the things that we talk about. So that's another thing that I would love to talk to our young women about. Things like that. And another thing, I said I was going to do a short show today, but now I'm on a roll because I'm just thinking about all kinds of things that I see, and some of them make absolutely no sense. So another thing that I noticed about, I don't know if I want to call it old school versus new school, I'm not sure. Is this thing with certain restaurants are a problem? So, you know, I wish I wasn't talking to myself, but I am. If I'm going out with a guy and I'm at a point where I don't even jump up to really go out on dates. I like my peace. I'm cool being at home in my room, chilling by myself, watching 227. I know that's old school, or some of these other shows, or just being at peace, eating my snacks and minding my own business. That's where I am. So if I decide to go out with someone, I think the next time I go out with someone, it'll be something really simple, like going to Starbucks, just sitting there at Starbucks. And you probably don't have a lot of time because I'm at a different place in life. I'm good. I'm not going to require a man that I just met to take me to a five-star restaurant on the first date. To me, it just screams, I'm not used to this. I've never been there. Um, he's got to work so hard to get me, blah, blah, blah. But this is the first date. I don't get it. The first date, you can't go to Cheesecake Factory. The first date, you can't just go get a simple cup of coffee. It's got to be a five-star restaurant. What's up with that? Personally, I like the Cheesecake Factory because I like cheesecake. So, like, okay. But when did we get here? It's things come in levels. It's a build. It comes in levels. See, me in my mind, I would be sitting there. If a guy wanted to take me to a five-star restaurant on the first date, I would be trying to figure out what is he thinking? What does he think he's gonna get out of this at the end of the night? That would be me. That's where my head would be. So I don't understand it. These tyrants about cheesecake, right? You're gonna be some lonely old one. Keep it up. Keep it up. Because it's kind of like we're saying, I don't know if this is a generational thing. I don't know if reality TV has these girls messed up. I don't know. But keep up with that behavior. I guarantee you're going to be alone and by yourself. And it's kind of like this sense of entitlement or, oh, I'm high class. Let me tell you something. And I want you to hear me really good. If you're really high class, that's not based on what you wear or the place that you go. That's something on the inside of you. So I think high class needs to be redefined. I think people really need to understand what that means. But that's just me. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about because this is like totally funny to me. Like, wow, really? Really? Huh. Now, if you guys develop a relationship and you really into him, he's really into you, and you decide to go there, great. But to demand this on the first date, because if it was my brother and or cousin, I'm like, you better get rid of her. To me, it's a telltale sign. There's going to be a problem in the future. Okay. Now, to be fair, I'm going to talk about some of the women that are in my age group. And let me grab my phone for this because this here just kind of, I don't even want to say rattled. It's like, really? Did you really just do this? Did you really do this? And why? So, let me see if I can find it because I saved it just because I just thought this was absolutely Crazy. I actually saved it under Girl Talk content. I'm telling you, it's a lot that we could. It's a lot. It's a lot. So this judge, she's a judge, a judge, a judge. Here it is. She is a Pennsylvania judge. So she's a judge of, I guess, a particular county. But I'm thinking about the hard work that it takes to become a judge. You know, the years of college, the years of law school, internships. You know, it's a step by step process. So to accomplish such a huge goal, and this is an African American woman, which I find this, the whole story is just bizarre to me and baffling. And it's kind of sad in some ways because you've pretty much just thrown away your career, your life. So I'm assuming if she's a judge, she had to be pretty self sufficient. And, we were always taught that you don't want to have to need a man. You don't want to have to rely on his income only. You need to be getting your own, doing your own thing, being able to provide for yourself, and so on and so forth. So if you want someone that you don't get with someone out of necessity, but that because it's because you really want to be with them. Do you understand what I'm saying? So to build this career, I don't know how long it took her to become this judge, but she became one. That's my whole point. And from what I see, she had, I guess, her and her boyfriend. Her name looks like it's Judge Sonia McKnight. And she shot her then boyfriend. This happened sometime in 2024. She shot him in the head and tried to make him think that it was him, that he shot himself. And from what I read about the story, you can look this up on Facebook or different news outlets if you choose to. They broke up. She was living in his home. They broke up. He took back his key and she refused to go. He asked her to be gone. Whenever he went out somewhere, he wanted her to be gone, took back his key. Okay, if somebody tells you they want you to leave, just go. Two, if you tell somebody you want them to leave, you make sure they get escorted out. And you better watch them. That's just my take on it. So anywho, he goes out. She's still at the house. According to this article, according to this story, this is according. She is on the couch. He's taking back the key. What he's saying is, I don't want you. I don't want you here. I don't want you in my space. I don't want you near me. I don't want any of it. Just go. So it is crystal clear. When someone takes their key back, they want you gone. Just go. She was still sitting on his couch of the house that he told her to leave. And she was still sitting there, laying on the couch. I don't know if she was eating her snacks or what, but she was determined she wasn't going to go. Waited for the man to go to sleep. Shot him in the temple. I think the left temple, and the bullet exited. It's amazing he's still alive, because I'm a firm believer, you aim for someone's head, chest, things like that, you're trying to kill them. You want them to be, quote unquote, unalive. Anywho, she tries to convince him that he shot himself. She's on the, she called 911 and she didn't know what happened. You did it. And I look at her, I'm like, On paper, you seem like you're successful. You have a fantastic career. What was it that made you go there? And it's alleged that she did this before her ex-husband. So what made you go there? What made you decide to do this? What made you sit there when a man told you to leave? That was it. When he took his key, that was it. And I'm quite sure if it got to this point, I'm sure he's asked her to go before. I am sure of it. If it's gotten to this point, this was kind of like the last straw. And let me tell you, when men decide they don't want you, they will let you know. I don't care how beautiful you are. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care what your financial status is, your social status. I don't care. When they are done, they will let you know. They get really cruel in their treatment. It's almost like they loved you at one point, but then they hated you. It's time to go. She didn't do that. She will be sentenced really soon because of this. So, what was it? Was it the rejection? I mean, we all deal with rejection. I don't care what anyone says. Some of the most beautiful, successful, rich, wealthy, socially inclined individuals have all dealt with somebody that decided they didn't want us. And that's just being honest. If you say no, then you are operating in your pride. But the truth of the matter is, we have all dealt with that. Why didn't you just get up and go? Why throw away your life, your freedom, your reputation, your good name because someone does not want to be with you? Something is going on with her internally, in my opinion, that has never really been addressed. No. What do you think? Hey, email me. Let me know what you're thinking. I love girl talk, but sometimes I just don't want to talk by myself. But I have no problem doing that. So, I just want to say, let's continue to do the work on ourselves. If we see something's wrong, let's address it. Let's get that handled. Let's get that dealt with. You know, that's heavy to me. That's really heavy to me. I wish she would have thought about it. I wish she would not have been in the heat of the moment. I wish she would have made the decision to just go, just leave. Well, then with someone who did not want us. And these are, some of the things that I think that we can pass along to our young women that are coming up. Does not want you, keep it moving. Go on. Focus on you. These are some of the things I wish I had done myself when I was in my 20s because I would have made some different decisions. But now that the smoke is cleared, there's no way. I'm going to stay with someone who does not want me. And then let me say this, and then I'm going to close. There is nothing wrong with you being alone. Don't let people fool you and make you think, oh, I have to be in this relationship. I have to be in that relationship. Let me tell you something. No, you don't. When the time is right, you will. We're going to talk about that because it's some girl code stuff and a girl cheat sheet that we're going to teach you so you don't get caught up in that. So you don't waste your time, waste your body, waste your resources on someone who does not want you. So that's it for today. I want to thank you all so much for just sitting there chilling with me as we talk about some of these girl things. I know right now my show looks a little public access-ish. However, that's going to change. But for right now, this is the platform that I'm given. This is where I'm shooting my content. So if you want it to look better, feel free. Email me at girltalkwithtshon at gmail.com. So next time, hey, I want you guys to just feel good about you. When in doubt, ask. When you don't know, ask. When you're not sure, ask. Because if someone doesn't know the answer, they may help you find the answer. So again, good day. Thank you for tuning in with Girl Talk with T'Shon. I am T'Shon, and be blessed.